Friends, I'm super excited to introduce my next guest. He is the man that the great Yamandu Costa claims to be the future of guitar. How do I know? Yamandu told me so in an interview. A true guitar virtuoso genius, Antoine is a rare, once-in-a-generational talent who can virtually play anything at an equally astounding level, from classical to baroque, to Django Gypsy Jazz, to fingerstyle arrangements of contemporary pop, with flawless fluidity, dynamic expression, intensity, warmth, and an artistic excellence. This young French virtuoso's incredible and equal mastery of both fingerstyle and flat picking is simply astonishing. When I first watched him perform Scarlatti's Sonata K386, an almost impossible piece to play up to speed and to play cleanly. Nonetheless, with a classical guitar that took him 7 years to build by himself, I nearly fell off my chair. Rarely have I ever seen or heard such clean, technical mastery of fluid and fast contrapuntal syncopations. But the sound, oh my God, the sound. That warm and brilliant sound from that homemade Indian rosewood guitar was indubitably celestial. It was extraordinary in performance. And that was 7 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Fast forward to 2025. After winning many prestigious guitar awards, including the 2017 European Guitar Award as a duo with flamenco guitarist Samuelito, and releasing 3 more albums. On April 11th, Antoine will be releasing his upcoming album, Everything Moves, his first album release in 4 years. Followed later this year by a collaborative album with his wife, Yeore Kim, called You and I. So without further ado, please welcome the remarkable Antoine Boyer.
Wow.
Hey, Antoine, welcome. Great to see you, man. Such a pleasure and an honor to have you on today and have this conversation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
That's quite an introduction.
I hope you didn't mind because
no,
I thought maybe I was going to get bitch slapped or something. For being long-winded. Anyway, I digress. Love your playing, man. In fact, I'm ecstatic over your playing. I've been watching videos all day and yesterday, etc. I can't wait to catch one of your shows when you eventually tour the States. I hope you're going to tour the States soon. Because I have to come do one of your shows. whenever that will be, sooner or later, hopefully sooner. So I heard you just finished touring India. Is that true?
Yes, I mean, it was not a tour, it was just one concert, actually.
One concert? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's a mini tour, I would say.
That's, yeah.
And ostensibly, this is for the new album, Everything Moves, which we're going to talk about later.
You mean
this one show?
No, that was a completely different thing. It was playing with Indian musicians in an Indian festival. So it was like another world.
That's awesome. Antoine, you are such a rare and unique player with equally phenomenal skills in classical guitar, Django jazz, flat picking style, and fingerstyle jazz arrangements of contemporary pop. Paradoxically, I would say also, I think when you're planning a tour, this is a double-edged sword because it presents a booking agent's nightmare. I was thinking about this. Is he classical? Is he jazz? Or do I position him in a pop venue? So my question is, when you wear so many different hats as you do, whether you book your own dates or you have an agent, when you're booking a tour, how do you convince venues or agents, rather than confuse them, that your style and set list will appeal to their crowds?
Usually I don't really have this, let's say, this problem. Usually people contact me because they already are interested by this current project, for example, and they tell me, oh, we would love to have you with this guy, or as a solo, or with this other guy. And then I can say, okay, yeah, it's possible, or not possible because we are not doing this anymore, or things like this. Mm-hmm. So it's usually the other way around. So I don't have too much trouble for this. Yeah.
You're not lying to me, are you?
Sorry?
You're not lying to me, are you?
No, I'm not.
Well, thank you. I believe you. I think I would have a challenge with it. Antoine, when you recently began releasing weekly song videos every Friday for your latest album, your first album in 4 years, Everything Moves, and that's in anticipation for an April 11th world release date. Is that correct?
Yes.
Every piece was so different, using different guitars and timbres with different room atmospheres. Tell us about the new album. How did you come up with this title and concept?
So I guess it could be explained in many ways because, Everything Moves is kind of a very large concept. I always have trouble explaining it, but, I guess it's talking about sound and life and how everything is moving. Like nothing is actually static. And I mean, as far as we know, everything is evolving and moving. And yeah, in many ways, it's something that really fascinates me to just imagine and study and perceive in different ways. So yeah, it's just something that I wanted to share. And then, yeah, the music is what it is.
Awesome. What made you decide to record the album live with 0 overdubs by doing raw full takes of a different solo guitar piece in a unique space of your friend's house?
So I wanted to have live videos, like what you see on the image is what's happening in the album. I really wanted this, and that's quite a challenge because then you need to do more takes than if you can edit or if you play playback or anything like this. So it was a challenge, but it was a very nice adventure, and I will keep going on creating videos this way because I really prefer this process.
Yeah, and you can't cheat it as well, and people appreciate it more because they're seeing the real thing. There are no tricks, no overdubs. Yeah. No sleight of hand or anything like that.
Yes.
Are you going to record the same album with your wife later this year? The same way? Are you going to record it?
It's already recorded.
Awesome.
We are now almost at the mastering stage. So it's almost done.
Fantastic.
So it's going to follow very closely the Everything Move album.
And you'll have some performances and shows to accompany it, I would presume.
Yes, some concerts are coming, starting this spring, summer, and after the summer, yeah.
Fabulous. Tell us about the different guitars that you used for each song on the new album, Everything Moves, and why you selected them for each piece.
So I use 4 guitars. So you have the classical guitar, 7-string classical guitar, which I really love. It's a guitar from a Japanese maker, and it sounds like I would say like a piano, because it's very wide and very open and very full at the same time, and it's bright, and yeah, it has a bit of everything, and of course the low B. So I really like this one for arrangement with a lot of counterpoints, where I really want to have a full harmony spectrum.
Mm-hmm. You get an amazing tone out of your instruments. It's
Thanks.
So vibrant and so full of harmonic flavor.
Yeah. This instrument is really, really, really good. I mean,
Yeah.
if someone is looking for a classical guitar, I really recommend this guy. He's working really great. It's amazing.
Is that Johann Cholet?
No, the classical guitar is Ryosuke Kobayashi from Japan.
I see.
Yeah. Then I also have the Gypsy guitar, my Gypsy guitar that I have since more than 10 years, almost 15 years. It's a guitar from an American maker called Bob Hollow. He makes great Gypsy guitars. And I use this for things where I want a bit more of a, let's say, first a steel string sound and then more of a swing feeling, Mm-hmm. Even if I don't actually play swing, maybe, but I really like this tone. And it's a guitar I started to play with, so it's something I'm really comfortable with.
Yeah, every guitar sounds unique and has its own characteristic personality. I noticed. Some of your guitars sound rounder in tone, and others sound more ringy, but it's beautiful. What was the most challenging aspect of recording this album?
I would say be able to perform every piece, as a one take. Some of the pieces were okay, I didn't have too much trouble and it was quite natural, but some others were a more difficult process. So, and that depends on the piece and also on the moment, because when you record nonstop during 1 week, with every time a lot of, settings, because you have to do the sound, but also the camera and lighting setting, and sometimes it's a long process. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when everything is ready and you start to record and you're like, I don't feel like playing now. It's not always aligned. So that's a challenge.
But you have to push forward. The show must go on.
You have to push forward, or you have to know when it's time for a break. And sometimes I forget also. And
I can imagine
it's a balance.
That.
Yeah.
And that brings me, I was just thinking, there has to be perhaps some type of special preparation that helps you to get into the right mindset before you do these takes. Do you do anything special? Do you do meditation? Do you do deep breathing? Do you just take a walk? Because it's very challenging.
It depends on the piece. Some pieces they don't really demand me to have a special preparation. Mm-hmm. I can just jump into it and that's okay. But for example, An Ancient Tale, the first piece that was out, it's a very meditative piece. This one, we knew we wanted to do it at night. And I kind of prepare myself and try to get into that really, really calm state so that when I hit the first note, something is happening.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring up An Ancient Tale because it's a medieval theme that you started the release with. This is the first release. So what inspired you to compose the medieval theme in Ancient Tale, and why did you decide to make it your first video release?
So I didn't really decide to compose it. It just came like this, the main melody. I was just sitting and it just came. It just happens sometime. And then, yeah, it's actually one of my favorite tracks on the records, and I thought it would be nice to start the release with this because it just, I don't know, to me it has something special.
It's hauntingly beautiful, the piece. I love the piece. Even when you play single lines in the very beginning of the piece, the sound is so much bigger. Even without the harmony, just with the melody. How did you record that track? I'm curious. What mics did you use to create that haunting ambience?
So all the tracks with acoustic guitar, not the one with archtop guitar, acoustic guitar, they all recorded the same way, with 2 Neumanns and 1 Beyer dynamic. And so the 2 Neumanns, they get pretty much like everything you want, and the Beyer dynamic is giving you this little bit of mid-range, a little bit compressed mid-range that is nice to have on acoustic guitar.
And this is without any guitar effects on the acoustic guitar? It's just going straight into the recording device?
It's going straight, and then later I add some reverb and compression a little bit.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the effects are really, really simple.
Great. Your second video release, Century Old, honoring and inspired by Django's electric guitar period. You're using an archtop on that one. Love the open chords, and I love this jazz bluesy feel and the bends. It's so different from Ancient Tale.
Yeah.
Explain how you composed that piece, because I love the way that you go from comping to single lines very freely and effortlessly.
Well, I wanted to have a piece with this kind of comping, this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I wanted to have this with a very simple melody, and then I just came up with this kind of open chords melody with this comping, and just kind of developed it with this specific phrasing that you can hear in Django's recording. So some very fast chromatic runs and things like this that are very specific to him and that are very dynamic.
Yeah, that was very impressive. You're playing gypsy jazz style and then going to the open chords all up and down the neck. It made it sound very orchestral.
Yeah.
And bluesy nice. At the same time, so I commend you on it.
Yeah, I really try to find this tone by cracking just a little bit the tube of the amp and to have this little bit of saturation.
Yeah, there was a hair of saturation on it, which really added to the feel of the whole piece. Did that take a while and some experimentation to get that exact amount of saturation?
Yeah. I also worked with... I bought this amp from this guy in Barcelona, and this guy is really, really good at this, and he makes, everything by hand, and everything is beautifully wired, and the tone is really nice, and when I got it, I was able to really dig into this and treat it as I could do for an acoustic instrument. So that was a very nice work to do, yeah.
I knew you were playing through an amp on that piece, because it sounded very warm, and I could feel the tubes, like you're playing through a tube amp.
Yeah.
Even more so than some of the other pieces that were released so far.
Yeah.
It sounded very organic.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you using an amp on every single piece?
No.
No.
Only on the archtop guitar, only on the jazz guitar.
I see. Yeah.
All the other guitar is just an acoustic guitar.
Right. Now your third video release, Jimmy Van Heusen's Like Someone in Love, has an exquisitely, breathtakingly beautiful round tone to it, I noticed. Unlike the previous two, it was much rounder and softer. And here you're using the classical guitar.
Yeah.
So what mics are you using on that particular one? Are you using to get that beautiful tone?
It's exactly the same as an ancient tale. Mm-hmm. It's just that the way I'm playing, especially at the beginning of the piece, it's very close to the fretboard, and it's very round. And I'm playing in the bass. I'm starting the piece really low, so everything is really round and warm. Because that melody it's like, it's very warm melody to me. So yeah.
So are you bringing your right hand up toward the neck to get a rounder, warmer sound?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that you're moving the right hand quite a bit up and down, depending on where you are in the piece.
Yeah, because it gives a lot of different means of expression.
That's great, man. I love it. Over the years, you've been known to take well-known existing pop and jazz standards and rework them into your own fingerstyle chord melody arrangements, usually playing an archtop, utilizing your classical right-hand technique, and creating these beautiful, contrasting, colorful soundscapes. You've done this with songs like The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, Norwegian Wood, Someday My Prince Will Come, and Cherokee. And most recently, your latest video and your fourth release off your new album, Lennon-McCartney's And I Love Her, which you played on the Gypsy Jazz Guitar, which I really loved. So my question is, Antoine, how do you approach reinterpreting these classic contemporary tunes to your style while still honoring the integrity of the original piece?
First, I have to know the melody very well. It's usually something I've heard many times and that I just really like. And then when I start playing it on the guitar, I'm inspired by what has been done, so the original and other arrangements. But once I know, the tune on the guitar, like the basic melody harmony, I just try to let it be in a way. So that's
a good thing.
Yeah, so that it just finds its own way with my playing, the guitar I'm playing. And usually, like a main idea, a main style of arrangement will come out. And I don't really decide how it will be.
Are there any sequential steps that you take to come about to a final arrangement? Like, do you first start with a chord and then move to a melody, and then, for instance, then you try to change the bass notes around, and maybe you try to change some of the higher voicings on the guitar?
Yeah, it's all of this. Usually all of these steps happen, there is no order, but I'm usually trying around reharmonization and different way of accompanying, and what could be the voicing, what could be the harmony and everything. So there is no order. It's just happening like this, trying. And usually once I've found, okay, this, I feel this is the style of arrangement I want to do, everything starts to fall into place because the choices are more obvious to make.
Yeah, that's interesting, because as a songwriter, I've always been asked, well, do you start with the lyrics first or do you start with the music first? And I said it depends, because sometimes I'll even start with just the title and then it organically works off the title. So by analogy, you're stating the same thing. There's no one set way that the arrangement comes together. It could come together with a germ of an idea, and then it could flourish from that idea, or it could come together with a chord sequence or a sound that you're inspired by.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Do you use right-hand nails for fingerstyle playing on electric guitar the same way that you use it for acoustic?
Same way.
Same way.
Yeah.
Now, the nails are on all four fingers?
Yes.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Great. Tell us more about the second album that you and your wife have already recorded, You and I, that's going to be released later in this year. Now, your wife is a chromatic harmonica player, Yeore Kim. what else do you have going on with that particular project, you and I?
We've been touring, playing together since 7 years since we met. And we've been touring actually since 7 years and something like this. We've been starting playing just right after we met. And we haven't done any duet album. We have done Tangram, which was a group album that contained a few duet pieces. But since the beginning, we wanted to do a duet album, and we didn't for some reason. And now it's finally happening, and I'm very happy we did it. And that's nice that we did it also in Korea, in South Korea, at her home. So we are living in France, but it was very nice to come back to Korea to do this.
Did you both meet at a gig?
Yes, we did. In
I
Taiwan.
thought so. Fantastic. Yeah, usually great relationships come from a gig.
Yeah.
Antoine, I heard that you started playing guitar at age 6 on the same day as your father with the same teacher. And you started playing gypsy guitar straight away. I heard that in another interview. Did you pick up the guitar skill right away, very quickly? And how long did it take you to pass your father?
I don't remember that precisely, but what I know is that, so we started Gypsy Jazz, which is a style that you learn mostly, by ear. You're not going to have scores or anything like this. So it's actually a very fast way to learn. You don't have this intermediate step that is the score. And, gypsies are just like this. They just show you, and you do this chord, and you put your finger here, and then you play, and that's it. We play. Go, go, go. It's like this. So it goes very fast. The process was kind of, I would say, natural. And we were playing with my father right from the beginning. So there is also this family thing going on. And you have the interaction. So yeah, I think it's a very nice way to start music, basically.
Yeah. And your father is a piano player by trade and an accordion player, from what I understand. And your mom is also a piano player, isn't she?
Yeah.
There was already lots of music in your family before you even started guitar with your father.
Yeah, we were listening to a lot of music. Yeah, it was very present. It was not their professional job. They did study a lot of music and they did play, but their professional job was, market studies and statistics and stuff like this. So completely different world. But still, the music was very present.
Yes, I heard that. I heard both your mom and dad are statisticians.
Yes.
And you get your incredible mathematical aptitude.
Well, I'm not sure. I was not so good at math.
You're kidding me, right?
No. I was really not so good. Yeah.
I would never guess that, from your knowledge of the guitar and all of these inversions all over the neck.
Yeah. Actually, for me, it's more a visual thing than a brain thing. It's more how do you say, a haptic? No, like I have much better abilities with the muscle memory and touch and vision than mathematics or things like this.
Did you learn to read music early?
No, I learned much later. When I was 15 or something like this. And that was really hard. It was a big suffering to start this.
I can imagine, because usually you have to learn when you're 6 or 7 to get the best results from reading and to be able to read quickly, without making mistakes.
Yeah, it's a skill in itself, yeah.
Did you go to music school or the conservatory, Antoine?
So yes, I did. When I was about 16, I started the conservatory. That's when I started reading music and when I started classical guitar. So I also had to learn, the finger style playing with the nails and everything.
Yeah. So you first mastered Gypsy Jazz.
Yes.
Classical came later when you went to the conservatory.
10 years later. Yeah.
Wow. That's really interesting. You ever listen to Lenny Bro? Because he was a fantastic jazz fingerstyle guitarist.
Yes, yes. I do know, of course, Lenny Bro, and I've heard here and there some record, but I never really went deep into his playing. But every time I hear it, I can relate very much,
Right.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. You have incredible fingerstyle syncopations between the right and left hand, just like Lenny Bro, because Lenny Bro was known to be able to play 3-part harmony with himself, which was pretty incredible. And I see you having that same ability to do that. And I'm sure you do that on occasion.
But
Which brings,
it's very common for classical guitarists to do this, like
Yeah.
to play 2, 3, even 4 parts on short moments. It's really like, I would say it's the main work, the main practice of a classical guitarist to be able to separate all those voices like a piano player. But you can't really never reach to that point.
no. Were you able to pick up the classical guitar very easily?
I wouldn't say easily. I mean, in some way, yes, because I was already a guitarist. So the left hand was kind of, already okay. But the right hand was a long process because I was playing, picking and gypsy picking. So it's a very specific technique.
Yeah.
And my hand was closed, So it was a long process and it's still an ongoing process, to try to make it as fluent as it is with the pick.
Yeah. I heard that you were explaining how to use your right hand for gypsy picking.
Yeah.
And you mentioned in another interview that you have to use gravity like this, and it comes from the right elbow in a way.
Yes.
Like, for instance,
it starts here, yeah.
I found it really interesting that it's a falling motion when you're playing gypsy guitar.
Yeah.
So coming from the right elbow to get the power and the sound. So are you mostly using all downstrokes when you're playing gypsy guitar? And how do you bring in the upstrokes if you're mainly coming down on the string to get that beautiful, rich sound?
Basically, in gypsy jazz, the tone is like the priority, I would say.
Yeah.
So as long as you have time to play down, you play down, because this is the most effective way to get a warm and full sound. And then as soon as it gets too fast to play only down, you can switch to up and down.
Right. So what I imagine is that the upstroke is more like a recoil reaction to the downstroke.
Yeah,
because if you have the time, you're going to go down to get the power. But then occasionally when you need to play faster passages, you're going to go down and then up as a recoil to that stroke that you just accomplished.
It's like going up to fall better.
Yeah.
For me, it's my sensation, at least.
Yeah. So that's the first sensation that you really learned in the muscle memory, is this gypsy jazz.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm really impressed by your left hand, but I'm more impressed by your right hand. I'm astounded by your right hand. When you're flat picking these rapid fire chord comping and then alternating with super fast, clean alternate picking in different styles. So how do you keep up your chops when you're trying to navigate so many different styles? Because each style has its own different muscle memory. So I think that it takes hours and hours to practice to be able to maintain all of these different muscle memories.
So for the gypsy guitar technique, so the flat picking technique, I don't practice because it's been in my body since I was 6. So it's like your mother tongue when you if you start speaking English, you will never really forget it, you know. So it's the same for me. I don't need to practice that, fortunately, because it would be too much to to do. So I actually don't. And when I need to come back to it, like really seriously for a specific project, then I will play a little bit, and it's just gonna come back like it should be. And then for the classical right hand, so fingerstyle, that's a bit of a more difficult process because I've started this later, and I'm still building this technique. It's not like I reach a point where it's settled and I'm happy with it. I'm still building it. So right now, every day I'm still doing like flamenco exercise and, you know, just trying to build this and to get it stronger, to be more stable, and get also more flexibility and more velocity, to have more, you know, expression.
Do you find that you have to practice every day to really keep it like dialed in?
Yes, for the right hand, I need. Sometimes it's nice to, it's nice to alternate, you know, have a very deep practice period and then a break and then another practice period. It's important to have those breaks in between.
Yeah, most definitely. It's amazing how you can keep the open strings ringing, even at high volumes, I noticed, when you're navigating these mixed runs and this chord comping. What's bizarre is I don't notice any right-hand muting when you're doing all of this. So I gather that you're muting mainly with your left hand, with the higher volume stuff. Is it possible to demonstrate to my viewers how you mute with the left hand when you're not muting with the right hand?
So do you mean like in a specific style or?
Like, for instance, when you're playing classical guitar, are you muting with the tips of your fingers to adjacent strings?
No, with the classical guitar, it's going to be with the right hand, actually.
Yeah.
How can I demonstrate? For example, here, the E, the bass, I choose to cut it on the G sharp. You see?
Yeah.
So the bass is usually cut with the thumb.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I had heard that you said to someone that you do mute with the left hand in certain styles. Maybe you don't do it with classical, but you're muting perhaps with some jazz playing. You're muting with your left hand?
So in classical guitar, it's going to be mostly with right hand. And jazz, I don't really know, actually. Yes, in jazz, it's going to be... Yeah, because I won't do something like this with the right hand when I play pick. So it's going to be with the left hand mainly in jazz. That's for sure, yeah.
So you're muting the open strings with maybe your fingertips?
Yes, yeah, it's going to be with the fingertips. And also in jazz, it's going to be less open string than classical, usually.
Yeah. Yeah. Really amazing how you keep up on all of these different styles. At what age did you first know that you had a very special talent in guitar?
I don't know, honestly. We just kept on playing. So, there is no, like one day where we say, okay, that's it. I'm going to do this. It's even really later. It took me time to really kind of acknowledge, like, okay, I'm a guitarist and I'm going to play concert. And because I really like to do other things and still do, but now it's just taking it's taking more and more time, and it's a full-time thing now.
Yeah. So you were like most kids, like you like to do sports, you like to do other things, and you weren't you weren't playing 15 hours a day, in other words. You were playing 3 hours per day, 5 hours per day.
It depends. I mean, I think I started to play more when I did classical guitar, but it was rarely a lot of like 8-10 hours like you can hear on for some people. I didn't really practice that long.
So you didn't have a schedule, because some players have a schedule where they say, I'm going to play 8 hours today or 6 hours. And then there are other players who don't have a schedule at all, and they just randomly play when they feel inspired to play.
Yeah,
You're the latter?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. And I mean, I know what I want to work on, and so that's kind of enough to make the plan.
Who are some of your early jazz guitar influences? Who are your favorite guitar players in jazz?
I mean, in the early jazz, it's Django, that's for sure.
Okay.
And then later, there are many great guitarists I really love in many styles. So it's hard to name anyone. But I've been, from Django, I've been inspired, of course, with the gypsy guys like Angelo De Bar and Billy Lagren and Strukel Rosenberg and all those guys that came, that are the big gypsy jazz star now. And then from there, I've discovered more jazz guitarists, like, I don't know, Kurt Rosenwinkel or, all the jazz guitarists, Julian Lage. There are so many.
Yeah. Did you enjoy listening to some of the jazz fusion players like Alan Holdsworth?
Yes, a lot. Actually, I discovered Alan from his version of Nuage from Django Reinhardt. There is a crazy version of this tune, and if you don't know Nuage, I mean, you don't even recognize it. It's like Nuage, but on another planet, and it's amazing. And from there, I started to listen a lot of Alan Holdsworth. I even transcribed some of his solo on the gypsy guitar, which is impossible to do.
That is impossible. You're gonna have to tell me your secret someday. How do you transpose Alan Holdsworth on gypsy jazz guitar?
I didn't succeed, so there is no secret. I didn't. If I really want to do it, I will buy a Kiesel guitar or something like this.
Just to transcribe those 7s and 6s are intense.
Yeah, it's very intense. It is.
Did you often try to get the tabs or the transcriptions when you learned some of these solos? Or did you do it by ear?
Never. Because I always learn Django solos by ear.
Right.
So I've gotten used to this way of doing, and I really like the process, of directly learn it by heart. Otherwise, it's like in classical guitar, you have the score, so you can read it. But even if you can read it and play it well with the score, it doesn't mean you know it. So there is this step you have to do to learn it by heart. And I like to have it just straight.
I love that. That's old school way, just like I used to learn Al Di Meola and Pat Metheny by putting the needle down. I'm much older than you. Putting the needle down on vinyl and then scratching up the record, and then for hours learning a particular run or a part until I would get it somehow.
Yeah.
And then you practice it over time, and it actually evolves, the whole thing into your own style.
Yeah.
Did you like guys like Joe Pass?
I mean, I do love Joe Pass. I just didn't listen too much of this particular guy, but I really love it. I mean, every time I see a solo video, I'm like, wow.
Fantastic. Now, I've marveled watching your 10 counterpoints video, Antoine. It left me breathless, in fact. You are a master of counterpoint on the guitar. And to be fair, you composed those pieces. However, if reading a score, tell us how an experienced classical guitarist should approach creating the most efficient and fluid fingerings with the least amount of movement for these counterpoint passages.
Yes, so I would say that's a whole science. Like the
No,
science
we only have an hour. No.
the science of fingering on classical guitar, it's very classical guitarists are extremely good at this, to make the right choice, because you come from there and you're going there.
Yeah.
It's something that jazz guitarists don't do that much. I mean, not at that level, at least.
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned from classical guitar, and it's a very conscious way of making the choice of which finger you're going to put. So it's hard to give an advice like this, but I would say it's knowing where you are, where you came from, where you are, and where you're going. So from this, you can make the choice of which position you should be. Like, should you be on the second fret or on the first fret because you need to reach there? For example, if I'm on the fifth fret and I need to reach this side, that works. But if I need to reach the other side, like the third fret, then it means the bass should be played, for example, with the fourth finger to reach the third fret.
Right.
So it's all those, it's just being conscious of, your capacities, in which direction you're able to go.
And you're always looking for the most economical movement.
Yes.
The least amount of movement to achieve the desired result.
Yes, always.
Yeah, and I noticed that also in Century Old and in many different pieces that you play, especially the Jimmy Van Heusen piece, that basically you take a chord and then you just move it down a fret, or then you move your other finger up a fret.
Yes.
So there's all of these inner movements that create economy of motion. These decisions that you're making are all based on how can I get the desired result with the least amount of effort and the least amount of movement.
Yeah. Because it's already a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Because, when you're playing counterpoint on guitar, it's a lot of physical effort. So you need to be efficient. You need to.
It's just really mind-boggling to be able to play that fluid and with that clarity of tone the way you do with these counterpoint pieces. And I'm thinking that you're constantly reworking certain parts of the composition so that it'll be even more economical, so that you could play it even easier. Like even if this piece that you're a 6-minute piece that you're playing over, that you've been playing it for a year, you may find some trouble spots in it, and then you may work the fingerings later on down the road to make it better. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, it always evolves this way. Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That classical guitar that you played on the Scarlatti K386 that you built, which you expected you would build in 1 year, it took you 7 years. You learned it from luthier Johann Cholet. Mm-hmm. What were the biggest challenges building that guitar?
I mean, it took time because I couldn't go that often at his workshop where I was doing it. I was building it. So that I would say that's the reason it took time. Otherwise, if I was always there, it would take just a few months. Yeah. And I was always pretty comfortable with making things with my hands, like wood stuff. And so younger, I always built some things with wood or, cars and planes and everything I could build. I was, I really loved that. So making a guitar was not so challenging, to be honest. Also, I had a very good teacher. So I would say that's the reason it was not too challenging, because every time there was a difficult step, he would just tell me, okay, you just need to do it that way. And then, so it was a kind of an easy process with him.
Got it. But you had a natural proclivity to be able to build things, because ever since you're a little kid, you're probably working with wood, and that's what I'm gathering. Is that
a fair
assumption?
Yeah. I had already all the tools, and I knew how to just shape wood basically. So I just
Yeah.
had to learn the specific movements that you need for, guitar building,
Right.
and a few tricks, and yeah.
I also think that the choice of wood, the Indian rosewood and the cedar that you used in that guitar, really affected the tone. It's a beautiful tone you actually got
Yeah.
from that K386 piece. And this
So it's-
reminds me of what Yamandu told me with his guitars that he builds in Spain. You know, he has certain favorite woods, and that they all affect the tone. And he loves cedar, especially. That's his preference.
Yeah.
But did you choose Indian rosewood for the body because you really preferred that tone? It gave you a certain tone that none other wood could give you?
So the Indian rosewood, I wouldn't say it matters that much. I mean, it's a very common wood for the body.
Yeah.
So it just happened to be at Johan's workshop, so I used that. And the specific choice was more about the cedar, because this is going to change much more the sound. And I like the cedar because it's very round compared to spruce. So I chose this, and my classical concert guitar at that time was also cedar. I did the same choice. So yeah, that's something I wanted to do. And also the choice was on the building, like which kind of bearing you do. So I chose the Friedrich one. I don't know if you know him.
Okay.
He's one of the most famous classical guitar builder from the, I think, 60s, 70s. And my teacher, classical guitar teacher, Gérard Biton, he had one of those, and they are very rare and expensive now. And I remember trying this guitar and being blown away by the tone. So I always remembered that, and so I chose the Friedrich, the plan. Yeah.
Do you mind spelling that name for my viewers?
Friedrich, I think it's Daniel Friedrich. Shall I spell it?
Sure.
Friedrich.
Great. To my viewers, I'm leaving that spelling right here so you can look it up. You'll see it on the screen. Because it's an amazing tone that you get from that, from the whole apparatus.
It's nice for a first guitar, but it's far from being the best guitar I've tried, and it's very far from a Friedrich guitar, I have to say.
Yeah, gotcha. You know what I found very interesting is when you play Gypsy Jazz, getting back to that you told someone else that you use the flat part of the pick instead of the pointy part of the pick. And you're using a very thick pick. I think it's a 2 millimeter Dunlop. Can you explain why you use that when you're playing Gypsy Jazz?
2 milliliter is the thinnest you can be before it starts to bend. Like 1.5 is almost okay, but 1 millimeter it's bending when you play the Gypsy Jazz way, which is quite a strong style, you know.
Yeah.
So some people play much thicker pick in Gypsy Jazz. Some people play 3-4 milliliter.
Wow.
But
Really?
I don't really like it because it feels like a stone. I mean, it works, but for me, I need to get something thinner. So it's actually quite thin for Gypsy Jazz.
Oh, I thought that 2 millimeters was thick.
I mean, for an electric player, it is.
Yeah,
but
it's
for
very thick. Yeah.
For a Gypsy Jazz player, it's thin.
I've heard from other guitarists that you want a thicker pick in general because you don't want any bending, even on electric playing. You want minimum bending to be able to achieve the speed and the clarity.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I do, because what you want is that you give the sound and the dynamic to the string and not the opposite. The string shouldn't tell you how it's going to sound. You should
Interesting. How do you keep your chops up? With your right hand's amazing. and you're doing it in different styles. And the right hand is the first thing to go if you're not practicing it, I think. Your picking hand is the first thing to go. So how do you keep your chops up with your right hand?
I mean, as I said, for the right hand, the picking technique, I don't do anything. I've worked a lot in the past. I've played a lot, and that's why it's kind of settled. I think there is a point where it's just settled and it's not going to go away. So, of course, if I don't play for 1-2 weeks or a month, if I start again, I will feel, okay, it's a bit far, my fingers hurt a bit, but after playing 1 or 2 days, it just comes back. So, yeah, that's what I can say.
That's superhuman, because I know if I stop for a week...
It's not. But I can't, for example, I can't say the same for the fingerstyle playing. If I stop a few days, then I lose a lot of velocity and strength.
Really?
So, yeah, it's a very different process for the fingerstyle playing.
Do you have strong nails?
I would say I have average nails, but I use gel to make them stronger. Otherwise, they wear out too much.
Now, gel, not fake nails. You're just putting gels on the real nails.
Yeah, it's just like kind of if you put varnish, but a little bit thicker.
Yeah, gotcha. Because Yamandu uses fake nails, and he went through a whole process, and then he puts gel on the fake nails because he has very weak nails, he told me.
Ah, okay. Wow. Yeah, he has a very strong grip, so he needs strong nails.
Yeah, and he's been doing that for years.
Yeah.
In fact, he has a video on his YouTube where he goes through the whole process. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen his nails, and yeah, they're quite strong, yeah.
Yeah, and how he manages his nails and actually applies them is like quite a process. And then he heats them and does whatever he does with them.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But he's an amazing player, as you know, so just like you. Which brings me, I just can't wait for you and Yamandu to play together. I've been hearing about this for months. So one of you guys are going to do some recording or get on the road to do some gigs. Do you have any plans?
Well, yes, there is a plan for a recording, and I don't know yet. It's not fully confirmed, but it's going to come for sure, yeah.
Are you going to do any gigs in the States at all?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Are you coming to New York? Please say yes. Please.
I'm coming, actually. I'm coming. Nothing is planned with Yamandu yet. We need to do the record, but I'm coming to New York in May with Yeore.
Really? And you're playing some gigs in New York in May?
So in New York, we're playing the Gypsy Jazz Festival Django Go. I don't know if you heard it.
Oh, man.
So yeah, we're playing this in May.
I will be there for sure, and I will hunt you down. I'm coming to hunt you down, and you will see me, and I'm going to wear these things, and you'll recognize me. Have you played in New York before?
I haven't. No.
Oh, so this is the first time?
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. You should play at Joe's Pub. That's where Yamandu plays when he comes to New York.
Yeah.
It's a great place. In fact, I have several of videos from Joe's. It has a great sound to it for acoustic guitar, especially.
Well, I hope.
And, you will love it. If you come to New York and you book some gigs at Joe's Pub. Nice. Okay. I highly recommend that you do that.
Nice. Thanks.
But I'm going to check out, what is it, the Django Gypsy Jazz Festival in May?
It's a gypsy festival, and it's called Django Go.
Django Go.
Yes.
All right, I'll leave that in the description for my viewers.
Yeah.
So we can come check it out. Do you know the dates in May that you're coming?
The festival is the whole week of May 5th, so there are a lot of workshops all week, and then we're playing on the 10th.
And what is the name of the band that you're playing with, or the trio or quartet?
I think we're playing with Stefan Rembel.
Okay.
Stefan Rembel is a great French guitarist actually, and he's living in New York and organizing this festival since many years.
What is the most difficult piece that you've ever played? And what is the most challenging of your own compositions for you to perform?
I would say the most difficult pieces are classical guitar pieces where you have a lot of heavy counterpoint. Like fast Scarlatti sonata would be very difficult to play, always.
Like the K386 was very difficult.
For example, it is, yeah.
It didn't appear that way because it seemed like you played it effortlessly.
I tried. I faked. I faked it, but inside it's a.
Inside you're going, oh please, let me get through this passage. Is the K386 more difficult than the K545?
I would say that they're both difficult.
Yeah.
But for example, the 113, I would say it's even more difficult because it has a lot of very fast moving parts.
Lateral movement on
lateral movement. Yes.
Do you have that as a video on your channel, the 113?
Yes, it's part of my first solo album.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to check that out. I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait to see it because I thought the K386 was difficult.
It is. I mean, they're all difficult.
Oh, man. In your opinion, Antoine, rate your top 3 best guitar performances, either solo or with others, on YouTube. What do you think are your best performances, personally?
I've never thought about this like this.
Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to make you think.
Yeah. Let me check. Best performances. I mean, it's very difficult to say because there are many different styles and different kind of music out there on YouTube. So I'm happy with different kind of performances.
Now
so it's
remember,
very hard to.
I'm only asking about your performances. What are your top 3 performances? I'm not asking you to compare to other guitarists on YouTube.
No. I'm saying in my performances, there are many different things, many different styles. Like, for example, playing a Scarlatti sonata or playing in duet with Samuelito, for example. It's a very different thing. And both are nice performances, I would say. And I actually don't have like a preference. Like, those are just moments and.
Come on, there has to be something that you like a little more.
Actually, one of my favorite performance and compositions is An Ancient Tale.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Why?
one of my favorites because it feels true in a way, very very true. I mean, I don't say the rest is not true, but it has something really deep that maybe others don't have. I would say this.
Fascinating. That's probably why you decided to put it first, to release it first, because it was special to you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Man, that's great. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Name the 4 greatest all-around guitar players in 2025, in your opinion.
Yeah, it's hard to answer this on the internet those days. it will create.
Well, Yamandu answered it for me. So if Yamandu answered it, you have to answer it.
No, of course it's very personal, and I would answer like the guitarist that touched me the most. That would be my answer, and Yamandu is one of them for sure.
Me too. Yeah,
definitely,
no doubt.
Julian Lage.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, you named 2 great ones right there.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of Julian Lage in your playing, in your jazz playing.
Yeah, I've listened a lot of Julian Lage. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm even trying to not sound like Julian Lage.
I just met him, actually. I just met him at the Village Vanguard.
Oh, nice.
He's a super nice guy. And I'm going to interview him as well.
Nice. Okay.
So that'll be great. So you have two more, if you don't mind.
Be Really Lagren.
Okay. Good one.
I mean, it's been, I mean, I've listened to him since I was 5 or 6, so I'm very attached to him. One more.
One more. Come on, you can do it. One more.
I would say the same way as Be Really, there would be Angelo Dobar.
Nice.
I've learned a lot from Angelo. In the gypsy style, he's one of my favorite guitarists ever.
Wow, fantastic. What is the best advice you would give a young, talented musician in 2025 who wants to make a living as a guitarist?
I would say you need to spend the right time to connect with the instrument so that you find your voice with the instrument. Because it's not easy to sound like you. I mean, you have to find it, and you have to spend the right time to find it. Otherwise, it's a lot of guitarists sounds like other guitarists, or I would say they sound like the guitar they have in their hand. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to sound like you, whatever the guitar you have in your hand.
So in other words, you have to work hard to sound like you and try to avoid sounding like someone else.
I don't think it's avoiding anything. I think you should copy and be inspired by a lot of people. And you need to learn from someone, you know. So at first you need to copy and to be inspired by the guitarist you love.
Yeah.
Because you need to build something. You need to build a language. You need to build some technique. And once you are comfortable with this, maybe you already found your voice by doing this process. Maybe you don't, and then you really need to spend that time with yourself.
It's really interesting because are you familiar with Tomo Fujita, the Japanese guitarist, funk player? Funk?
No.
No? Well, anyway, he was a big Larry Carlton fan when he was going to Berkeley. And he said he had these tickets, and he told me that he had to throw away the tickets because if he went to that show to see Larry Carlton, because at that point he was sounding like Larry Carlton.
Ah, yeah.
And he sounded very fusiony. He couldn't develop his own style because he was too influenced by this great player that he idolized. So he had to give the tickets away.
Yeah.
And then he just totally threw out all that he knew. And for 4 years, he only played blues after playing jazz all his life.
I can understand.
It took that much effort and that radical of a change for him to develop his own style. Mm. And then he used to also play with effects and some gain. Mm-hmm. And then he went totally clean, just right through the amp. Mm-hmm. No effects anymore whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, I guess the moral of the story is that you have to do something really dramatic and take a big risk in order to develop your own style. Because otherwise, if you just fall into your comfort zone and you fall back into old habits, and then maybe you sound too much alike like some other player. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really respect about you, is that you've developed a style through your diversity, through being able to play classical, gypsy jazz, and fingerstyle jazz. Mm. And having that type of mastery over different styles has combined made your style, I think. Mm-hmm. I can't think of anyone exactly like you right now who can do all of those things as well as you do, which is amazing. So, Antoine, what is planned for the rest of 2025? Tour-wise, recording-wise, can you give us a summary of that?
So yeah, it's going to be very full with the release of Everything Moves, the release of the duet with Yeore, you and I. There should be a recording with Yamandu sometime.
Please tell us.
Yeah, there will be a recording also in duet with the great pianist from Hungary, Zsigmond Galozzi. He's a very close friend and one of the most amazing musicians I know, like truly. So we will record this, I guess, in September. I will look forward to this. It's always an adventure with him because he's a crazy musician and it opens a lot of new paths. So
okay, I'm going to ask you to spell his name, and we'll put it in the description for my viewers so they can look him up.
Maybe I will send you because the spelling is it's Hungarian spelling. Yes, it is.
Send it to me, please.
It will be faster if I send it.
Yeah, sounds good. And are you doing any other tour dates? Are you touring other countries this year, performance-wise?
So yes, in May I will be in the US, so in New York, and as well as in Los Angeles at the Guitar Festival in Los Angeles. And then this summer we'll be in Europe. I will be also a bit in China, and back in Europe. Yeah, France.
Awesome. What's the best way for my viewers to keep up with your 2025 tour schedule and future plans? And also, where is the best social media for them to follow you, Antoine?
So I would say my website and as a social media, Instagram.
Beautiful. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell my viewers before we hit it and quit it, so to speak?
For me, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I just can't wait to meet you in May at this Gypsy Agogo festival.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I will be there for sure.
Nice.
And I'm going to look you up, and I'm going to stalk you and find you.
Let's meet there.
Yeah, and I did the same with Yamandu. I've seen him at New Jersey. That's another place where you should play, New Jersey PAC, which is right next door, the next state over, NJ PAC. And I can't wait to see that collaboration and some of those performances with you and Yamandu. It'd be extraordinary.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. We want people to know about you in the United States, Antoine, and I still believe more people in the States should know about your extraordinary skills, playing and compositions. That is my mission. So I want to thank you, Maestro, for taking the time to have this conversation with me. And we really look forward, and I personally look forward to seeing you perform at the Gypsy Agogo Festival in New York in May. I want people to know about your extraordinary ability. More people need to be turned on to your playing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.